3 whistles rang out. And I knew what that meant. I was a lifeguard. I was 19 years old, and 3 whistles on the beach meant someone was missing. We're all lifeguards in this room. All of us are guarding something in our lives. We're guarding our families, clients, our customers, our businesses, our health, our relationships. That guarding takes a toll. It's really about resilience. Without that, we cannot succeed. We've got to develop our resilience before we need it. Resilience is not just about the physical. It's mental, it's emotional, it's even spiritual. High performance isn't about exhaustion, it's not about burnout, it's about recovery. How do you routinely and ritually take care of yourself as though other people's lives depended on you? To take care of yourself is not selfish. To take care of yourself creates a model for others to take care of themselves. And then it becomes cultural. Resilient teams change the world. We have the power to make workplaces engines for mental health and well-being. The capacity to perform at our best in the future relies on our resilience in the present. It's as simple as that. It's as transformational as that. Resilient teams change the world. They want you to succeed and understand if you're not successful personally, you can never be successful professionally, at least not in a sustainable way. That I'll share with you briefly, and I'm going to give you a couple of questions to follow up if you'd like with your own teams. When we think about how do you operationalize this concept, this new paradigm of resilience, if you will, we're thinking about it in 4 ways. First of all, it's about value set. I am only standing here because this is a value to your company. I am the living proof that they care about you and wanted to have this conversation. They want you to succeed and understand if you're not successful personally, you can never be successful professionally, at least not in a sustainable way. So it's a value. The standard operating practices and procedures have to reflect that. They have to model it, because otherwise it becomes hypocrisy, institutionalized hypocrisy. We all know what that feels like. So in some of the companies that we support, we've created 50-minute meetings. You know, you go to a massage therapist, you pay for an hour, but how much do you get? You get 50 minutes, right? So that 50-minute meeting means that people have that 5 to 10 minutes to get water, take a walk, go to the bathroom, whatever it might be. I've had some brave people recently too in meetings. CEO was going on, and I know what it's like. When I get the microphone, I don't want to give it up. Especially when there's important things to talk about, passionate about. But yet, we went past the 50-minute mark. I happened to be in this meeting, and somebody stopped, held up their hand and said, look, we have a rule. I get it. This is maybe an unpopular thing to do, but this meeting needs to end. You know, credit to that CEO. She owned it. She said, you know what? I wasn't as prepared for this meeting as I needed to be. I didn't manage my time well enough. This is a poor example of how you conduct this meeting. And we're going to end it right here. And whatever I didn't get the chance to say will happen another time. I couldn't believe it. Again, the kind of trust that created in that group was just astonishing. It was organic. It just happened in the moment. It's eating the cooking. Those practices and procedures, they can be anything. But you just have to think about what it is that we do for people's resilience. I mean, the story that you told about your indecision about the job and how that was met was one of those amazing stories to me, to show congruence. It's beautiful. M&P, modeling and permission. This is the obvious, we model. We model for others. But here's the thing that's a nuance, so that we give other people permission. Because when I'm the leader that believes that leadership is about being in first and staying last, that's great for me, except it takes away the permission of other people to go to therapy if they need to go to their kid's recital, or do anything else that's outside the marker of at all cost, at all cost. This is not an at all cost world we are, I think, living in now. And certainly if we want to thrive in business, it's an old way of thinking. I think it's DOA. GYB stands for Got Your Back, and this is how we support one another. What was spoken about earlier today, that we check in with each other. That thing that you said you might commit to doing, choose somebody in this room, maybe somebody you've never connected with before, you never met here before. Many of you are meeting for the very first time in person. Ask somebody, will you just check in with me once a month by email or phone or something? You know, how am I doing in that new ritual that I've created? What does that look like? Here are the questions you can bring back to your team. Take a screenshot of this if you like. These 3 questions are a workshop that we often deliver. You can do this with your teams. Give them 10 minutes to noodle on each question. Come back and debrief it. We sometimes spend a half day or a whole day just going through this. We take notes, use flip chart paper, do the whole thing. It's amazing. It's a deep dive. The solutions that your people will have about how to create more resilience. It's the weakest link thing. The chain is always just as strong as that weakest link. We've got to take care of people, not let anybody go down in our water. That's the way we're baked as human beings, to look out for one another. That's truly how we're baked. We've got to institutionalize that, operationalize that. What do you do in the midst of that overwhelm? In the midst of problems and things that seemingly are inconceivably big? What's your reset? Because a big element of resilience for ourselves individually and within our teams is this capacity to reset. Whenever I get caught in the riptides of fear, doubt, worry, the kind of things, what we were talking about earlier today can be so overwhelming. What was brought up yesterday, that question, what's your name, sir? Brought that question up or made that comment yesterday? Terry. Thank you, Terry. Overwhelming. What do you do in the midst of that overwhelm? In the midst of problems and things that seemingly are inconceivably big? What's your reset? Because a big element of resilience for ourselves individually and within our teams is this capacity to reset. So I thought it'd be fun just to take a moment for you to create your 10-second reset. And maybe it was I think it was yesterday that Rob, might have been the day before, that Rob used this term, I am believe. Do you guys remember when he said that? Anybody say it? You remember you said that? I am believe. I am is a very powerful starting declaration. It's a way to make a statement in the moment. And when we're caught in stress, we don't know what to do, we can take a breath. Everybody take a breath right now. One nice deep breath, cleansing breath. Yeah. You can feel it in your belly. Feel your belly rise and fall. In that moment where you're about to react, whether it's to write an email that you know maybe you shouldn't write, or to say something that you can not retrieve once those words leave your mouth, you take that breath. There's also this possibility to just remind yourself of something that's true about you. So I want you to fill in the blank on that. Take 30 seconds now in your mind just to feel, think, I am, and then fill in the blank. This is a 10-second reset. And then we're going to popcorn around the room. So, a lot of us are just going to say that word out loud. Rob's yesterday was I am believe. And I'm going to put one on to start us off here. So Rob's been taking clothes off. I'm going to put some clothes on. Thank God. Yep, that's probably appropriate. Yeah, it's good. All right. This is my I am statement for today. Okay? What's yours? I am. Who wants to start us off? I am. Creative. Call them out. This is popcorn, so just do it. Yeah? Joyful. Happy. Awesome. Free. Crazy. No? Present. I heard crazy. That's funny. Crazy present. What else? Grateful. Beautiful. What else? Content. Relaxed. I am. Thriving. Beautiful. What else?
On it.
On it. Ooh, yeah. Love that. Worth it. Yeah. Ooh.
Love that.
Yep. Related to that, any others? Worth it. I am. Healthy. Alive. Thank you, Maria. Passionate. Inquisitive. Yes. Strong. Vigorous. Enough. Thank you. What else? Loved and love. Forgiven. Worthy. Deserving. I am. This is one of those things right now I hope we can anchor in. That whatever that word is in your mind, that when you find yourself in that moment of stress, you find yourself triggered, that you could take that breath and remember that. That's the truth. That's why your mind came up with it to begin with. It was truthful for you. Accountability that's rooted in love is easy. It's feedback. We're going to talk about that in a second. That's what it is. It's feedback. It's not criticism. It's not back to third grade where you got that bad grade and you were afraid to go home and show it to your parents, or where you were embarrassed in school, where you raised your hand and asked a question and the class laughed, or the teacher derided you. It's not that at all. It's about improvement, self-improvement and team improvement to win the game. Does that make sense? Rooted in love versus rooted in judgment. So feedback. I want to share with you in the few minutes I've got here what is a very powerful process for giving and receiving feedback. And I want you to, if you can take a picture of the screen. I know we're going to make this available to you as well. And you can write this down and practice it starting today. Feedback about anything. Feedback about the meal. Feedback about somebody that is in your business that's not operating at their optimal best. Whatever it is, these three statements are the key to giving and receiving feedback in a way that honors people, that is rooted in love and not judgment. These are the three statements. What worked for me? You always start with what worked for me. Because too often we understand feedback to mean what? How are we taught to receive feedback? As what? As negative as criticism, exactly. So here's what worked for me. I'd love to talk to you about this. I've had people that in our business, we've had contractors that owe us a project. They're late with their project, and we have to have that uncomfortable conversation. So here's what it looks like. What works for me is we love the quality of your work, your graphic design. We love what you're doing. In fact, we wouldn't even think, we wouldn't want to go anywhere else because we know how much you put into it. We love your team. This is what works for me. What doesn't work for me is that my team is biting their nails all the time about whether they're going to get their deliverables on time. And often we don't. So what does not work for me is that you are late. Even though the quality is so great, it's not on time. That does not work for me. And what could be done differently is, what do you think? Be on time. Get it done earlier. Because the last thing in the world I want to have to do is ask to start looking for other people, other businesses that can replace this service. That's the last thing we want to do. So what could be done differently is blank. You know what the kind of feedback we get from that feedback is? Anybody want to guess? How does it feel? Does it feel honoring? Does it feel passive aggressive? No. People thank us. Sometimes they cry. They're embarrassed. They feel the shame. I can't believe you had to call me to have this conversation. It'll never happen again. People owe you money. Same thing. Doesn't matter what the scenario. You can use this feedback. You can use this with your kids. I remember not long ago when our son, who's up at UC Santa Cruz, he would come home with the car when he was a high school student. You know, the time he had to be home with the car is 11 o'clock. He shows up at 11:10. Now, most of us, we know, kid comes in at 11:10, the curfew's 11. What do we say to ourselves? Close enough. Don't want to have a whole hassle. You know what talking to a teenager can be like? You walk into the room, say, here's the deal. What worked for me is your home. What worked for me is that the car is safe and sound, that you're safe and sound, that you had a great night. Did you have a great night? Fan-flippin-tastic. I don't smell anything on you, so you had a great night and you didn't even drink. Wow, incredible, that works for me. What doesn't work for me is that 11 o'clock is the time I expected you home. That's what we agreed to, and it's 11:10. Because guess what? You say nothing, and 11:10 next week becomes what? 11:30. Exactly, and on and on and on. And this is where the line just disappears at some point. And then people start to feel it on the inside. How do I hold this person accountable? So this is a conversation you can have in any context. And it's one that supports the results that you're looking for. HP results are high performance results. You guys want to build this team, build this community, get better results, have the community at large look at the work that you're doing, the work of these HOAs, as something so important. Like I said at the beginning, the environment that you help to curate and create is so important in all of our lives.